seek only the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom.
All right, okay, I understand.
The word kingdom means what? Domicile of the kings. Domicile of the kings. That's what kingdom means. Okay? So that means domicile, that's the place. A place where kings dwell. Only men can be kings. Kingdom, domicile of the kings. That proves that only men can be in this truth. Women are not kings. Only men are kings. So that proves a point, which that goes into Ezekiel. Unto you, O men, I call, Ezekiel 34, right? Only men are going to receive truth, because the Lord is only dealing with men. The tabernacle of the Most High is with men, right? So that proves that this word is the kingdom, is the kingdom itself. The knowledge, because only men are going to really receive this thing.
He withdraweth all his eyes righteous, but with kings are they all overthrown, yea, he doth establish them forever, and they are exalted. Therefore the redeemed of the Lord shall return, and come and see unto Zion, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head. They shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away.
The elect of the nation of Israel, they were born to be leaders of the nation. What did Yahawashi tell his disciples? You shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Think about that, man. We're being created, we're being formed, we're being forged into being leaders of this great nation, the nation of Israel.
Okay, I understand.
Rawchaa, Yahawah, Yahawah,
All right, okay, I understand.
Alright, Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel. You Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians, and the foreign Israelites that look like the other nations. scattered across the four corners of the earth. I want to give all praises to Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi, Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi. Got to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Yahawah is the name of the Heavenly Father, who everybody ignorantly calls God. Bahasham means in the name of, in the Paleo Hebrew, ancient Hebrew. And Yahawashi is the Holy One of Israel, who everybody calls Jesus Christ, who's actually from the tribe of Judah, a so-called Negro that was slain at the foundations of the earth for the salvation of Israel. So today, the Lord wanted to put the Spirit on me to deal with something that I'm going to deal with on both of my channels, and it's dealing with this topic of me and my elder were talking about it, and he said it would be a good lesson that I go over. It's called the death ray, okay, and it was made by Nikola Tesla, right? And Nikola Tesla was a very famous scientist. He was around maybe until around 1933, a little bit later than that, and he went back to the Lord. Now, he was a heathen, he wasn't an Israelite, but this is to show Esau's most powerful weapons. This is just to kind of show that he hides them in plain sight on certain things that you wouldn't expect him to be on, like video games, stuff like that. But that's why I want to kind of bring it across both my pages, because my other page is like a children's channel, but it's not. It's really like to show like through things that children use, to show like, hey, like they're showing you this stuff even in our children's stuff that's for children. Okay, so this game that I'm talking about that introduces this so-called death ray isn't a game that a child that was like maybe 12, 13 wouldn't play. But you'd be surprised today. Children do a lot more things earlier than they did in America, Babylon the Great, than they used to. So it could be some children that do know this and have played this at a younger age. But it's really an older game for like teenagers, young men growing up. That's kind of around when I started playing it, when I was younger. I was getting close to my 20s. This is like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old game. But I'm going to kind of plug this in and put some precepts in to show these things go back to the scriptures. So Lord willing, this is edifying to the flock, and I'm going to get started. We're going to read a couple articles, and then we're going to go into the video game and show you kind of what it looks like, okay, like a depiction of it, and then we're going to get into some scriptures, some precepts. So Lord willing, it's edifying to the flock, but we're going to kind of get to know this Nikola Tesla guy, right? Okay, so this is the Science History Institute Museum and Library. Okay, so he basically was, it says from the height of his celebrity. Let's go look into a little bit of this. Tesla's decline had been slow but steady after this innovative work on electrical power in the late 1800s. So this is with someone who was helped making coils for cars and what's not like that, was really actually one of those forefront builders when it came to electricity. Okay, but when it comes down to it, he could have been a Jake, he could have not been. We don't know. But as I would think, you know, if just coming from a man, you know, he probably wasn't an Israelite, okay, because he had lots of pool and lots of things that the government was allowing to do at that time, and Jake was still in a bad position at this point. Okay, he wasn't able to do things like this, or be able to ask to do things like this, or be granted the ability to do things like this. Okay, so Tesla's decline had been slow but steady. After this innovative work on electrical power in the late 1800s, specifically on alternating current, the young Caribbean immigrant, so he said he's Caribbean, so we know that he's one of the nations. He's not Israel, though, from what we know. Who knows? Had branched out into radio and wireless power transmission in the early 1900s. Newspapers worldwide reported on his very undertaking. Even the most eccentric, such as a 20-story tower in Colorado that built up huge electric charges and shot lightning bolts 135 feet long. The thunder generated was audible 15 miles away. So it says, so later when Tesla started talking about an even wilder projects, including a powerful new weapon, right? And who makes the weapons? We know in the scriptures, Esau, even the so-called white man, was blessed with a sword. Okay, and he made the weapons. Okay, and we're gonna go break that down in a little bit, but we're gonna show you, you know, why this is probably not a Jake. Okay, and why, and just to show one of Esau's very dangerous weapons, and this is why we tell people like the Hebrew Defense Unit guys who keep saying that they're gonna use force to take over the land and whatnot. They don't understand how powerful the Lord has made Esau with these weapons. Okay, he's made him so powerful that the only way that he can be stopped is Yahawashi. Okay, they cannot be stopped. Okay, so we're not going to use weapons to take these people down. It's going to be the Lord. So a powerful new weapon he was working on. Folks paid attention. Tesla's new device, like bolts of thunder in the New York Times in 1915. So this is more than 100 years ago. Okay, that they were already doing this. In fact, this new device will come to dominate the last decade of Tesla's life. Instead of lightning, Tesla said his new weapon would harness a beam of metal ions hurtling along at 270,000 miles per hour. As for how this beam was possible, Tesla was always coy, citing new laws of physics that no one has ever dreamed about. He nevertheless bragged about his work to any reporter who would listen. The all-penetrating beam would pack 100 billion watts into just 100 millionth of a square centimeter. Tesla ceased his Teleforce weapon for decades, saying it could shoot down airplanes from 250 miles away. The press landed on a different name for the invention, the Death Ray. Despite claims to the contrary, Tesla never provided much proof that the Death Ray worked, but no one could quite dismiss the idea after all. This was Tesla. So hype about the weapon really took off up in the run of World War II as Nazi Germany assembled a fearsome air force. The ability to shoot down airplanes 250 miles away seemed like a godsend, but the people in Tesla's home land, called Yugoslavia, begged him to return home and install the rays to protect them from the Nazi menace. Okay, so when you really get into it, I want to show a little video of somebody kind of expressing that he did have it done and he was going to show the world, okay, but he passed just before he could. Okay, like he got in a car accident and he passed. Okay, but this is the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency construct illustration of a Soviet anti-satellite laser in 1986. Okay, so they were taking this after he passed and were still working on this weapon. Okay, Because that's showing that if they had a concept of it, that means that what? They were trying to improve it. Okay? So we're going to go over here and we're going to show you in this game. Okay? It was 8 years ago. It's called Gears of War. Okay? And in this game, they have this thing called the Hammer of Don. Okay? And it's literally this weapon that they're talking about. So we're going to just show a little bit what it could do. And what Esau Edom might have, man. Okay, we're not sure because he hasn't used it, but who knows? And this is to show a little bit how it could work. See that? You see them beams coming out of the sky? See that? It could happen like that. Okay? Okay, because when you look at it, that's what the basically what the chariots, the so-called UFOs, can do. They can shoot those laser beams. So we know that they're trying to basically be strong like the chariots. They're trying to get weapons powerful enough to go against the Lord. So this could be something that they really are trying to make, or they already have. So this is kind of how it could work when you watch this little clip. Okay. See? That's how it could work. You got a little gun and it big points it, you click it wherever and it locks in, and then a satellite in the sky shoots out and laser beams whatever it wants it to do. That's something that could be possibly done by Esau Edom and these weapons. Okay, because Esau he's mastered the sword at this point. Okay, and this is to kind of show that this could really happen. Okay, so hold on. Don't worry about all the other stuff around. I'm just trying to show the laser. Okay, and how they're shooting it. Okay, from the satellite. And they got satellites in space. They got a space force. See how it hit it? See? And they're up there in the satellites and they're shooting it. Okay, you see how they're shooting it? See? And they got them sitting everywhere. And they're hitting wherever they trying to hit. See, they're, you know, that's something that could possibly happen. Esau Edom could might maybe do something like that, you know, because they've mastered the weapon. So this is why we tell Israel, don't use weapons. Okay, these devils have weapons that we could even dream of. Okay, and that's why the Lord has to come back and take them out. Okay, because if they're making it in video games and stuff, it means what? They've tried it. They've tried to have something like it. Okay, and they might have something like it. And they're just keeping it before they come down with Israel with great wrath. Okay, like it says in Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. So what I want to get at before I start putting in these precepts is this small video. It's only about 5 minutes. And this guy right here, this Edomite, is going to explain a little bit on this Nikola Tesla guy and what happened to him just before he was going to show this death ray to the public. Okay?
Imagine a beam of energy that could bring down planes from a mile away using nothing but electricity. How about an invisible wall that could protect a country from invasion? That the moment the enemy soldiers cross the barrier, they're vaporized instantly. Sounds like something most militaries would love to get their hands on, doesn't it? It sounds like something straight out of a movie or a video game. But the concept of a death ray isn't just the stuff of science fiction. It may have actually been invented. Join us today as we examine the mystery of the Tesla death ray here on Mystery Archives. The dream of a kind of death ray has inspired weapons developers for decades, but it was one inventor who actually claimed to have successfully created one. Nikola Tesla, one of the most brilliant minds the world has ever seen, was was born in what is now Croatia in 1856, where he received an education in engineering before immigrating to the United States. There he got a job working for Thomas Edison before breaking out on his own venture as an inventor. Many of Tesla's inventions in this period were revolutionary, and while he primarily focused on improving systems for generating electric power and transmitting electric currents, he additionally made innovations in the field of radio technology. Tesla's biggest dream was to find a way to beam limitless power directly through the air, and over the course of his life, he managed to develop a number of devices that could emit electric energy wirelessly. But sadly, a lack of funding limited his research. However, in 1934, Tesla claimed that his research had resulted in an incredible new discovery, a device that could kill from miles away using electricity. He called this invention the Teleforce, and according to him, the weapon worked by focusing electric currents along a narrow path, which created a ray of electricity that could, in theory, shoot a plane out of the sky. But despite the supposed death ray he had created, Tesla was actually very anti-war, and hoped by gaining funding by selling a weapon that he could then use the very same technology to create force fields that, when activated, would prevent armies from invading countries and end war altogether. But Tesla's high-minded dreams were limited by a serious problem. No one had interest in funding the project. He approached the governments of the United States and the Soviet Union, among others, but none offered any money for it. And
because they wanted to go to war. Esau likes war, okay?
Of course, it's hard to build a massive death ray without some cash. But one night in 1937, at a meeting at the Yugoslavian embassy, Tesla told the room that not only was his invention possible, but that he had already built one, and in fact, he would be unveiling it to the world in a matter of months. Unfortunately, later that same year, the inventor was struck by a car while crossing the street in New York City and never truly recovered. He passed away shortly after, nearly penniless, in the New Yorker hotel where he had been living in 1943. Tragically, or rather fortunately, depending on how you look at the situation, it seems like if the inventor had had such a weapon, that it never saw the light of day. Or so it would seem. Upon the news of the inventor's death, the U.S. military showed up at the hotel and quickly searched the room for any inventions that they didn't want anyone else to get their hands on, but suspiciously reported that they had found nothing, as if we'd ever know about it if they did.
Okay, so we don't have to go too much more in that video, but supposedly he passed, he died in there, right? And this is what happened to him. This is who they gave his belongings to, okay? This guy, Mr. Kosnovic, okay, in 1956. He was a politician, a publicist, and a diplomat, son of Marcia Kosanovic, Tesla's sister. He was awarded with custody of Tesla's property by American court, which he subsequently shipped to Belgrade, okay, back to probably his hometown, okay, but that he wasn't the first person to get a hold of whatever he had, okay? And we see Esau Edom, the government came in there and got whatever he was going to have. Okay, so they could have took his information and did what? Actually made this weapon, man. Actually made this and just haven't used it yet. Okay? So this shows them they got a concept of it in 1986. That's 40 years after he passed. So this is just show that we can't beat Esau Edom with weapons, man. He's got some weapons that we've never even heard of. Okay? But this is something that they're showing in different video games and stuff like that, man. Okay? And they're just not talking about it. But if they can come up with that concept on a game, then more than likely they can come up with it in real life. But who knows? That's not really what I'm trying to get at. The point is that Esau, Edom, makes weapons like this. Very dangerous weapons. Okay? I know they have one thing. It generates like a ray of heat, and if they like put it in a direction, like if you're in a crowd or something, and they point it in the crowd and they click the button on it, it like sends these waves through the air, and it makes you feel like your skin is burning, like it's on fire. Okay, so they've got stuff that they're not telling people. Okay, so we want to make sure that we trust in Yahawashi and not weapons or the military. Okay, so I want to get into some precepts to show that Esau Edom was blessed with this ability to make these weapons. But first, what I talked about my elder, what kind of, put the spirit on me to do this lesson, that he said it would be a good lesson to do. Said it would be something nobody doesn't really touch on. So when you go over here, hold on. Because Esau was referred in the scriptures as the hammer of the earth. Okay? So this is Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? And that's talking about America, Babylon the Great. Okay, so when it talks about the hammer of the whole earth, and they had this so-called death ray, okay, that he just somewhere passed, and they didn't want to help fund it, and then as soon as he passed, they took his whatever they had, and they had their own concepts. See, they had their own inventions. U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency concept illustration of the Soviet anti-satellite laser. So this was things that they were thinking about making, man. Okay, and they might have one. So now, like I was saying, it's in the video game. It's called the Hammer of Dawn. Okay, now in real life they call it the death ray, but it's just kind of interesting that he is noted as the hammer of the earth, and then he makes this video game 8 years ago, and he calls this so-called weapon that shoots laser beams out of the sky of electricity the Hammer of Dawn in this video game. So it's just just something I wanted to point out, but really we're just going to deal with these weapons that he could possibly have that we haven't seen, and Esau Edom is going to use them on 2/3 of our people, man, because they do not want to repent. Okay, and they're going to use them with these AI robots. They're going to use all these different types of dangerous weapons that they have been crafting, okay, since the dawn of time. So that's really what we're here to deal with. But I want to just bring a little bit of history and how, you drive around with your cars and whatnot, and how Esau Edom has gotten so good with electricity, okay, by taking everybody else's inventions and putting other people's mindsets together and making them, but it was all controlled by Yahawashi, the Lord, put it in the mind of Esau Edom to do these things. Okay, so it ultimately comes from the Lord. So we're going to start at Genesis chapter 4 verse 8. Lord willing, this is edifying. I know it's kind of off the wall, but you know, Lord willing, this is edifying to somebody. You know, it was something that I haven't seen nobody really talk about, so I thought I'd use it to edify the flock of different weapons and things that Esau Edom might have, just to show that we don't need to be worried about defeating this demon with his own game. We're not going to win. So Genesis chapter 4 verse 8, and Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. See? So what did he do? Cain used the first weapon, which is what? A rock. And really, we don't know if it was a rock, because it just says that he slew him. See? He just rose up against him and slew him. We don't know what he slew him with, but he slew him with something. It could have just been his own bare hands. But all we know is Cain was the first person to murder someone, okay, with a weapon. Could have been his hands, could have been a rock. They try to say, and they try to say that he used a rock or something, but it doesn't say anything about he got struck with a rock. So that's another thing to show that, you know, that these churches are going off. They're trying to say that Cain hit him with a rock. Ain't nowhere it says he got hit with a rock. It just says he rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. That's it. He didn't explain exactly what it was. But when you go further, it's going to show you who made the weapons, who started really making like swords and stuff. It was one of his sons. Okay. So verse 9, and the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I thy brother's keeper? Right? He was saying, I don't know where he is. Why am I supposed to watch over him? And he said, this Yahawah the Heavenly Father speaking, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me unto the ground. Okay, and actually it was the Lord. So it's Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Anytime it says Lord in the Bible, it's talking about Yahawah in the name of Yahawashi. When it says God, that's talking about Yahawah. So that's how we know that the Most High, Yahawashi, was there. Just like it says in John 1:1. Okay, so he was there talking to Cain. Okay, but he was talking to him through the Spirit, basically. You know. Verse 10, and he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. Okay, and what does that mean? It means that what? Abel's soul was up in the heavens, basically telling on Cain, like, he slew me, man. Okay, and why did Cain do that? Because Cain gave a false offering to the Lord. He gave him fruit. Okay, and we know the Lord, he likes an animal sacrifice. He wanted to sacrifice the best of the sheep. Okay, and Cain didn't do that, so the Lord wasn't pleased with Cain. Okay, and that's why he got jealous and he killed Abel. Okay, so why is his voice cried to me from the ground? Abel was up there complaining to the Lord. Verse 11, and now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. So it shows that he did it with his hands. He could have used a rock. He could just, use his hands. But either way, we know it came forth from Cain. He was the first one to kill someone. Okay. Verse 12, when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond thou shalt be in the earth. Okay, so we know that Cain is a thief and a vagabond. Okay, we know that he is a thief and a vagabond, and he steals stuff. Okay, he steals stuff. He's a fugitive. Why? Because he killed somebody. When you got somebody out here, you fight somebody, what happens? You get in trouble. The cops will come arrest you and throw you in jail. Okay, so that's where you get this stuff from. Okay, it says thou shalt not kill, right? Well, he did that. Okay. So Job chapter 9 verse 24. And of course there's times in the Bible where, he ordered the men of the Lord to take over lands and they killed people, but that's different. That was ordered from the Lord. Okay, if the Lord tells you not to do something, then it means that he didn't allow that to happen. Okay? And it says also that he that killed with the sword must be killed with the sword. So that was the way of him saying, well, they killed y'all, so now you can go back and kill them. Okay, take your land. Okay, so it's all just about, what the Lord's will is at the time. Okay, which is why there's great destruction coming on the earth. So now when you go to Job chapter 9 verse 24, it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof, right? And what does that mean? He covered up judgment. He took all the actual judges and changed their faces. Okay, he changed the faces of them and made them different. Okay, made them look like him. Okay, they used to look like so-called, Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian Haitians, but it started with the Haitians, the Levites. Okay, and Judah, the so-called Negroes. Those are some of the first judges, and they changed them and make them look like so-called white people. Okay, but what did it say? It said that Cain was a thief and a vagabond. So who also is a thief and a vagabond? Esau. Okay, because they also did the same thing that Cain did. They're the descendants of Cain, and we're going to prove that. Okay, but first, after we see that the earth is given to the hand of the wicked, right? Who has all the money? Who has all the dollars with their face on them? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. That's how that way of seeing that they are the wicked. Okay, so now we're going to go to Genesis. We're going to go over here to the blue letter. We're going to do Genesis chapter 4 verse 22. So now we over here and we're going to learn this. So Genesis chapter 4 verse 22. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was an Emmaus. So when we go over here and look, this is one of Cain's sons. Okay, Tubal-Cain, right? So what did Tubal-Cain do? What did he do? What was his job? See? We ain't gotta read the actual word of it. Not a big deal right now. But it says Tubal-Cain, thou will be brought of Cain. So that's how we know that's his son of Lamech by his wife Zillah, the first worker in metal. See, metal. He was the artificer in metal. He made metal weapons, swords, stuff like that. And when you go to this other word, his name means possession, but I want to go to another word that shows that he was the first smith. It's not that one. It's the other one. Bear with me. See, it says same as H7013. And it says spear. Okay. That's not the one I'm looking for, but spear's a good one. But I want to go to the one that says smith, because you know how you have like a blacksmith. Okay, he was like the first blacksmith. Okay, let's try this one. No. Oh yeah, it's right there. Yeah, right here. Smiths. See? He was a smith. And that's what they did. They were blacksmiths. He was a blacksmith. So we know who made the first weapons. Who's that? The descendants of Cain. Okay? So now we need to point this out. Okay, we're going to go to Exodus. Because you remember in the flood, Cain, all of them were destroyed in the flood, okay, because they were wicked. The Lord destroyed them in this flood and saved Noah and the 8 people that were with him. There was 8 people with Noah. It was him and then his 3 sons, him and his wife, and then his 3 sons and their 3 wives. And their wives, okay? So it was 8 people who were saved from the flood. So everybody else passed. So Exodus chapter 17 verse 16, everybody else died, right? Well, the Lord was saying this. He said, Exodus chapter 7 verse 16, he said, for he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation, right? So we're going to deal with this name Amalek, because he said that we're going to have battle. We're going to battle these people, okay? The Israelites are going to battle these people, okay? So who is Amalek? Right? Amalek, dweller in a valley, son of Aphelius, concubine of Tamiah, grandson of Esau. See, so this is the first descendants of Esau. This is the first grandson. Okay, this is the first one. Okay, a descendant of Esau. Okay, so this is who we know we're having war with. Who? Esau's descendants from generation to generation. So Israel was going to have an enemy for generation to generation. Right? So once we see that they are the ones who we're going to have war with, it doesn't say anything about Cain, right? Well, we're going to show in the New Testament who went in the way of Cain, because they're the same people. Okay, so we're going to break it down. This is Genesis. We're having war with the same people. And what do they use? They use weapons. Okay, and they've been perfecting that weapon this whole time, to the point to where they have weapons that are so powerful, only the Lord can take them out. Okay, so we can't use weapons to defeat these people. So this is Genesis. One second. Chapter 4. What's that? This is Genesis chapter 25, 20, yeah. What is that? (22) verse 33. Sorry. Hold on. Chapter 24. Hold on. Actually, sorry. This is Genesis chapter 27. So I want to make a point before I get to this other point. Okay, so when we're going to get over here, we're going to show that, Esau, Jacob supplanted Esau. Okay, he took his blessing. Okay, we're going to show that, and we're going to show that he was blessed with the sword. So, but when you read back, you learn that Rebekah, his mother, was the one who told Jacob to do it. Okay, so we're going to start right here. And Isaac his father said unto him, Genesis chapter 37 verse 22. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, my firstborn Esau. And this is actually Jacob talking right now, but his mother told him to do it. Okay, and he was like, Jacob was like, no, that'll make my father mad. She said, boy, do what I said. So he went and did it. Right? And we're going to show you what Jacob's name means in a second and why he did it. Okay, and it's going to also explain why Isaac basically said that's his name. That's why the Lord put the Spirit on Isaac to give him that name. So verse 33, and Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, who? Where is he that have taken venison? Actually, that wasn't Jacob talking. That was actually Esau. This is after Jacob went and got the blessing. Okay? This is the second time that he supplanted Esau. Okay? That's where we at. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it to me? And I have eaten all before thou camest, and I have blessed him, yea, and he shall be blessed. Okay? And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even also my father. So Jacob already had gotten the blessing, because he supplanted Esau, like he took it from him. Okay, but this is the way that the Lord wanted it to be. Okay, but Jacob was never someone who was like a hunter or something. He was just, he was a supplanter. Okay, and supplanter means basically, to take. He'd take it, but he didn't take it by means of a way where it wasn't what the Lord wanted. Okay, so we're going to explain that in a second. So verse 35, and he said, thy brother came with subtlety and have taken away thy blessing. Right? And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he have supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, which was he sold it for a morsel of meat to Jacob. And behold, now he have taken away my blessing. And he said, thou hast not reserved a blessing for me? But this was all meant to happen this way. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren I have given him for servants. And with corn and wine I have sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou not one blessing, but hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Right? And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. So you remember in Job 9:24 it said the earth was given to the hand of the wicked. So who was given the fatness of the earth? Who was given everything on earth? Okay? Esau, Edom. That's how we know that's the wicked. Right? And and by thy sword thou shalt live, and thou shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, which is right now, and thou shalt break the yoke from off thy neck. Okay, but we're going to what? Supplant Esau, Edom in the end. Okay, we're going to win. Okay, Jacob, which his name is Israel. Okay, but we're going to show right here the name Jacob. Okay, so we're going to go back to Genesis chapter 25, chapter 27. I think it's verse like 35. We're going to go look up that name Jacob. Okay, see? And he said, is it not rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me this 2 times. Right? But this was all meant to happen because the Lord said that he would separate the 12 tribes of Israel, the chosen ones of Israel, from everyone else. And this is how he did it. He stole the keys, basically. He stole the inheritance from the devil, okay? Which is the deceiver, which is the so-called white man. So this says, Jacob, heel holder or supplanter, son of Isaac, grandson of Abraham, the father of the 12 patriarchs of the tribes of Israel. See? And who was Joseph's father? Jacob. And who did Joseph have? He had Yahawashi. So what's the point of all this? Him supplanting and taking this blessing, and then Yahawashi not come through his seed line. He had to come through this seed line. So when it says also heel catcher, okay, when you see the heel holder, when you go look this up right here, or it also says that in the beginning, when in Genesis, it says that Esau or Jacob held Esau's heel. Okay, in Genesis, okay, chapter 25, it talks about how he held Esau's heel. Okay, which means what? He was pulling him out of rulership. And you remember it said Esau, Edom would have the dominion, right? Well, he has it right now. He's ruling the earth right now in wickedness. But in the end, he's going to lose. 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, which means what? He'll be ruling during the end of the world. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Why? Because Jacob's pulling him out of rulership right now. Okay, with the truth, with these words. Okay. So now, we're going to go over here to 2nd Thessalonians. Chapter 2, verse 3. And it reads, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there be a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Who's that man being revealed? The son of perdition. Perdition means to basically get judged, put to death. Okay, who's getting put to death for what? What are they getting put to death for? Because they're thieves and vagabonds in the earth. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Okay, they're being revealed right now that they're what? They're the wicked that's ruling the earth right now, and they're getting judged for what they did. Okay. Okay, what did they do? They did the same thing that Cain did, okay? Because when you read down here, right? He said, and by thy sword thou shalt live and serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have dominion. And it says, verse 41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, which is his mind, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Who else slayed thy brother? Cain. Okay, but when you read earlier about Esau and Jacob in the 25th chapter, it talks about Esau and Jacob. They both represent nations. Okay? I'll pull it up real quick. Okay, Esau and Jacob represent nations. Okay, and this is the Lord speaking to Rebekah. We'll go back one. And the children struggled together within her, and this is basically like Cain and Abel fighting. Okay, trying to gain rulership. Okay, that came back as Jacob and Esau. And she said, "If it be so, why am I thus?" And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. The one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger in the end of it all. Because the elder is Esau, okay? And in the end, they're going to be serving us. They're going to be our servants. Verse 24, when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Okay? And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Where do you think they get the word redneck from? Where you think they get the word, redneck, or, like caught red-handed, the red dragon, all these things go back to Esau, okay? The devil, okay? The deceiver, to make you think that they're actually the people of the Lord, but they're not. So we're going to go back to 2nd Thessalonians. This person that we're talking about, Esau, is being revealed, okay? The son of perdition. Verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, who exalts themselves over all the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American, West Indian Haitians, the so-called white man, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. So this is how we know Yahawah is the Most High. He's everything that He's told us has came to pass, and He's got them ruling. But it's really Him who is in control, especially what this is saying. So, verse 5: Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. So the only way that we could remember these things in a correct way is if we were actually there with the Lord when He told us last time. And the only way He can reveal it to us is through His Spirit. Okay? Verse 6: And now ye know that withholdeth. Now ye know that what withholdeth, that He might be revealed in His time. And this is that time right now that He's being revealed by the prophets. Verse 7: For the mystery of iniquity, which means sin upon sin, doeth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. So the Lord has to take him out of the way. We can't take him out of the way. And I also want to show that Jacob's name was turned to Israel. I'm not going to explain how it was, but we're just going to say it, show you. And the Most High said unto him, Thy name is Jacob, thy name shall not be called any more Jacob. This is Genesis chapter 35, verse 10. But Israel shall be thy name, and he called his name Israel. So who is the Bible about? It's about Israel, okay, which is Jacob, who comes from the descendants of Abraham and Isaac. And what is Esau, Edom doing? They're going in the way of Cain, because they're basically the same. They're the descendants of Cain. Okay, they've been brought back to fulfill the rest of what Cain does. What? Make artificer of weapons, very dangerous weapons, man. Stuff like that. And then they don't tell nobody that they got it. Okay? That's what they do. They have many weapons that we don't know about. We don't know what Esau has up his sleeve when it comes to weapons. But we do know that, we need to rely on Yahawashi to protect us. Okay? We don't need to seek out and know everything for us to be saved. We just need to understand the scriptures and to stick with the scriptures and to know these scriptures to the best of our abilities and learn and grow as we go into this truth. So Genesis chapter 25 verse, actually, that's not the right one. Jude chapter 1 verse 11 said, Woe unto them, they have gone in the way of Cain. Who went in the way of Cain? Esau. Okay, because this is in the New Testament. Cain's been done away with. Okay, in the New Testament, Cain's not there no more. So who's went in the way of Cain? Esau, because that's his descendants. That's them coming back to do what? Do what the Lord said in Exodus chapter 17, verse 16. He said, we will battle with Amalek from generation to generation. In the Old Testament, he said we will. Okay? So for them to be there right now, and they saying they're going in the way of Cain, it's showing that they're basically the same seed line. That's the same spirit. Okay? That's controlled by Satan. Okay? And what do they both do? They make weapons. Okay? So it says they went into the way of Cain and ran greedily after the error of Balaam for reward and perished in the gainsaying of Kor. Now we know Balaam, he was like a false prophet, and he was like a fortune teller, I would say. And he was a heathen, okay? And he did a lot of deceitful things. We don't want to get too much into him. But I'm going to show a couple more scriptures and I'll be done. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9. And I mainly want to do this because, if you, okay, I'm going to read this first and I'm going to explain it. So the thing that had been, it is which shall be, and that which is done is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9. And that which is done is that which shall be done. There is no new thing under the sun. So we know that anything that we hear of, it might seem like it's new, but it's not new. Okay? So they've been talking about this since, Nikola Tesla was, he was 76 in 1933. He started making this thing before that, okay? And he was going to show it to the world. And then he went back with the Lord. He died around 50 something. And they over here making a whole nother concept of one that doesn't even look like nothing he made. it just shows that they got something, okay? So it's not nothing new. So if you see a one of these, okay, I'm just trying to show, like, if you see one of these coming out of the sky, okay, don't be dismayed, which means don't be like awed or something. Like, this is something that the Lord could have made Esau Edom do. Okay, I just want to play it back and just show it one more time. See that? He could do that, man. Esau Edom can have something like that, and especially when they know that these chariots are coming. They know that the so-called UFOs, they're going to try to get the biggest, most dangerous weapons they can find to take out these things, okay? They're not going to use them on us, if anything. They're going to use them against them because they know that they could just take us over with regular guns and regular military weapons. We don't even have a military as Israel. So this is just to show, like, we can't defeat these Edomites with weapons, okay? They've got stuff that we could hardly even dream of thinking of having. Because why? Because the Lord blessed them with the sword. They know what it is. So now we're going to go to Revelation chapter 13, verse 14. We're going to go there, and then we're going to pull up one more scripture, and then it's done. And it reads, let's start at 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. Now we know this was during World War II, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? Those two Japanese countries that America, Babylon the Great, they nuked them with those nukes, Fat Man and Little Boy, and then the war was over because they surrendered, the Japanese, right? Well, who's to say that this don't happen this time? Because it said nothing's new under the sun. What happened once shall happen again. This is something that they can use. This is something that they can use. And we don't know. It doesn't say. But we don't know. They might have stuff like this. Okay? That beams lasers out of the sky. So we want to make sure that we're fighting with the word and not fighting with weapons, because we will lose. Okay? We will not win. So now it says, like, it's earth in the sight of men, right? Now we don't know if that's gonna happen again, but it's just something to keep in mind. Like, he could have weapons like that. We gotta have spiritual powers to be able to withstand this wrath coming from the devil. Okay, which is, trusting in the men of GMS, and believing that the Lord is going to protect us. He's going to send Michael the archangel down to protect us. Okay, and spiritual powers to those men, those 144,000 elect men. So this is verse 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do inside of the beast. And we know the beast is the system, okay, and all the resources they have taken from these different sectors of this seven-headed beast, all these kingdoms. They've taken all these resources, and they're able to do certain things that we would see, that 2/3 of our people and these other nations would see as miracles. But we know that they're not miracles. They're this is witchcraft what they're doing. Okay, it's but the one thing that does make it a miracle is that we know the Lord's doing it, and that the Lord's going to stop it. That's the only way we could probably see it as a miracle. Okay, it's a miracle that this story is happening the way he said it would happen, and we're going to get out of here, Lord willing. So that's what I would say is, this is great that it's happening, okay, because it's what he said was going to happen. Saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and did live. And the sword, when it talks about wound by the sword, that was the last Roman Empire that was taken down. It was 4,000 years, and it was taken down, and then it came back as the revived Roman Empire, which is today America, Babylon the Great. So we got one more to show you that right now they're increasing in weapons, but we're increasing in the spirit. So everything's increasing right now, but their increasing is going to stop. Okay? So, hold on. That's not the verse that I want. It's hold on. It's right here. Daniel 12:4. Okay. So it says, Daniel 12 verse 4, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book. Even to the time of the end, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So right now, the hopeful elects be increased by wisdom of what? Being able to see the revealing of these devils and what they're doing, but also being revealed on what we need to do to obtain salvation. Right? Then Daniel looked, and behold, there stood another two, one on the side of the bank of the river, and on the other side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? See, even the disciples were asking, when is all this stuff going to be over? And I heard the man clothed with linen, which was upon the waters of the river, and he held up his right hand to his left and unto heaven, and swore by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a times and an half, and when he shall accomplish to scatter the power of the holy people, all things shall be finished. So there's a time period of all these things that got to play out first, okay, which we're seeing the end of it. We're here to witness the end of it. Okay, so verse 8, and I heard, but I understood not. See, Daniel didn't even understand it. Then said I, O Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end, which is right now. And who is unlocking them seals? It's the spirit of Yahawashi. Okay, the spirit of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, which is the Rawchaa Qadash, which is the Holy Spirit, is revealing this to his men, and the men are revealing it to the honorable multitude. Okay, now we don't know if we're of the 144,000 elect men. We just know that we're servants, and we hope to be a part of that number of men. But he revealed it to certain men to be called to be servants and to reveal this, which we know started with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. So, Lord willing, this is edifying to the flock. I want to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, led me to this truth, and been ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, fast, and show forth the Lord's righteousness, and mercy, judgment from wrath, and mercy, judgment, forgiveness, and wrath to all those who are part of the elect, whoever they may be, and to the hopeful elect. So, Lord willing, we part of that number. Lord willing, this be edifying to those who fear in the name of the Lord and are striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities. And Lord willing, it was edifying to you. Thought I'd just bring it across. It's not something that a lot of people touch on. And I just want to bring, edifying things to the flock. And don't use any weapons, Jake. Okay? We have to use the Spirit, because we're going to lose if we don't. So, the water for tuning in, everybody that's tuning in. I know it's very late, but Lord willing, it'll be something edifying to those who come across this video at any time. So, Shalom.